All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube, this is Pastor Dowd. You know, what I wanted to do is I wanted to start a series. And the series, I want to title it, let me think of a good title because I just clicked the button. I came in here. A communal experience or community experience. And I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way down the road, etc. And the reason why I want to do this is because I want to show you, for those of us, and when I say for those of us, Straitway is a model. Now, there are many other communities all across this land, and I guarantee that there are. But there are very few communities that keep the commandments, that have the spirituality, that obeys what the book says by living set apart and doing what it says. And that's what we started out to do 20-something years ago, and we're still doing it till today. But I want to express some of the experiences that we have had on this 2-decade journey when dealing with religious people. Now, over in the Bible, I'm sure you're familiar with this passage right here, okay? If you go to Matthew, the 10th chapter, the 7th verse, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, he actually gives commands, not only commands for the disciples, but he gives commands for those of us who are living this set apart life. And believe you me, I believe that we should all be striving to do this. Now, if there's one thing about Straitway, for those of you who have been here, when people come to visit us, they usually stay here in our home, right here with us in our home. I have personally housed strangers that I have never ever met in my life that have slept right here in my guest bedroom. The majority of homes here on this land all have what we would call a guest bedroom. And that guest bedroom is there to be able to house the saints, or look at this, let me say this, and it's sad that I have to say this, but I'm going to say this, or those pretending to be saints. And let's just tell the truth. We have to use a lot of discernment today because a lot of people are not today the same quality of people as we read about in the scriptures. And we're dealing with a people who have been occupied, displaced. Their mind has been coerced and manipulated. And now these people, while they may profess with their mouth that they're Israel, when you see the function of their heart, the reality of the way that they do things in their life, you'll see that these people are shyster Americans. And we've had a lot of painful experiences. We have. And that's the reason why that we haven't perfected, but we've come a very long way in trying spirits to see whether they be of Yah. And most people don't like it. I've had people just pull up on this land. And I mean literally pull up on this land with a trailer, a truck, and all of their belongings and said, we'll come here to live with you, Pastor Dowd. They heard me on YouTube or radio, be it international shortwave or maybe some AM or FM station, and they got convicted in their heart. And when they come, the wife will have a head covering on, wearing shorts and flip-flops, and the man is totally out of order. And mind you, we did not invite them. Now, I'm making this video because many of you who claim to be Israel, do you house the saints like the instructions teach us? Let's go over to Matthew, the 10th chapter, the 7th verse, and let's look at the culture of our people then. All right? Because straightway, we are a beacon of light and a proven source of people. We're not attempting. That started from the beginning, but we have successfully lived this communal lifestyle for 20-something years. And mind you, I will say that we have not come out of this without persecution. We have had much persecution. We have had many people falsely misrepresent us, lie on us. And just like they delivered Christ for envy, they do the same thing to us, except they deliver us to the court of public opinion or social media for envy for the people who have the same mindset, the same displaced mindset. But anyway, in Matthew, the 10th chapter, 7th verse, And Jesus said, and as ye go, preach, saying. And let me start the 5th verse, okay, for clarity. And I'm going to read directly from the King James Version, okay? Matthew, the 10th chapter, the 5th verse. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And then he gives them orders. Look what he says. Heal the sick, cleanse the leopard, raise the dead, and cast out devils. Freely you have received, freely give. Provide neither gold nor silver nor brass in your purses. In other words, disciples, when you go on this journey, don't worry about money. Don't worry about anything that you can use to exchange, because the intent is when you go to Yah's people, they will provide what is needed for you. They will give you what you need while you're on your journey, traveling from one house or one city to the next, or one country to the next. Do we have that today? Let's just tell the truth. Today, no matter if people possess the same hue of skin, or even if they profess to be an Israelite, you can't trust people today because their minds have been shaped, formed, and molded as Gentiles. I don't mind telling you, I've let people move here to Straitway and had regrets that I moved them here, but it's only short-lived because their spirit is so contrary to what we're doing. It's only a matter of time before they can't take it and then they have to leave. But that's the sad reality, because let me bring this into focus. Myself and the early assembly of Straitway, we sold everything that we had and we put it all into one general pot. And I used the proceeds, the money, and I purchased land with that. And I'm still doing that today in order to expand Israel, my family, Israel. And we have sacrificed blood, sweat, and tears. Let me give you the original Israelites that I'm speaking about that are still here today. I will give you those who passed. Let me see. The ones who passed on and those who are still here today. The beginning of Straitway. Well, it's myself and Sister Carol, Dad Dow and Mother Dow, Brother Shane, Teacher Shane, Deacon Bell, Brother Richard Flairman, and one that has passed on is Deacon Leon Gaston. Let's see, are there any more from the beginning? From the beginning. I don't think there is. Okay, I think I've covered what is left from the people who actually first broke ground here on the land. That is the beginning of Straitway. And I might add you, the ones that I'm speaking about are the ones who are still with us here today. They're still with me in this regeneration. Now, mind you, these people have forsaken all. We have all done exactly what the book says. And what's amazing to me, that if we allow you to come live with us and be a part of us, should there not be a gratefulness and should there not be a thankfulness, since you've had these first hour laborers that come in and we're going to get paid the same penny, but yet we've sacrificed and done all of this from the very beginning? And I tell you, what's sad is that everybody who usually comes, they come stage plan. You know, a new broom always sweeps well. We got 20 years experience with that. In other words, we have 20 years experience with hypocrites. And they'll come in and they'll keep a good spirit, a good nature, a good heart, and all this. They'll do it for a little while. Then after that, flesh starts to come in. What do you mean flesh? That flesh that they had refused to die out to, that flesh that they have refused to crucify, it begins to rise up and you start to see the real them. And then guess what? As a pastor, I have to check their flesh. Well, all of a sudden, these people don't feel like, because of the American mindset, that they are above correction, they are above reproof, they are above being told what to do. Now, let me get this right. When you go to apply for a job and you work on the job, you're going to be told what to do. When you go into the military, you're going to be told what to do. It's like in everything in the world, you can be told what to do and how to do it. But when you come to a community that you've invested nothing in, that we've opened up these doors and allowed you to come in to be a part of us, all of a sudden you can't be told what to do because you are somewhat what you call of a saint. And the scriptures is true. If it did not call it before it took place, I wouldn't know what to do. But I'm so happy that I know what the word says. The word says that this would be a very ungrateful and unthankful and unholy generation. We've experienced that. Because look at your preachers, look at your pastors out there. How many of them would open up the doors? How many of them actually have a guest house or a guest bedroom set aside for traveling Israelite families to be able to reside until they go on in their journey? How many have actually even opened up their door and saw the plight of others and says, you know what, these people have no place to go. I've had single mothers come here with 3 children with no place to go. And I've opened up the doors of this community and let them live here. And what type of things do we get after years of servitude towards them? Slandered. That's what we get. We get lied upon. That's what we get. They get offended. That's what we get. In other words, it's just sad. But that's part of the flight, is it not? So anyway, as we go on. So when Christ would tell them don't provide any script or purse or gold for your journey, all right, any of that. Don't worry about taking gold, silver in that. That's because when you go from one place to the next, the saints will provide for your needs. You see, Straitway, I guess you can say we have naively done that. But then again, it hasn't been naively done, because we've done it because it's what the book says. Most people are talking about this Bible, but very few people are living it. Let me see. Let me bring a little bit more concrete of an evidence here. It says that they that preach the gospel must live the gospel. So there's a lot of people, you can see it on YouTube, a lot of people preaching, a lot of people teaching. Very few people are actually living it. How you know that, Pastor Doubt? Because I'm living it. I'm doing it myself and all the saints that reside here at Straitway. We're doing it. Period. We're doing it. So we know if someone is a stage playing hypocrite, and we know if someone's serious. We know if someone is making an attempt. We know if someone's footprint is going in the right way in this journey. And we know the actual order of things when we see people go a certain way, because there's only one way. Is that not true? There's only one way to the kingdom. There's only one door. So when we see people walk through that door, when we see people walk that way, we know exactly who they are. And we know exactly what they're doing. All right. So time out for all you people out there who think you have some type of inside track on living this, because you don't. And neither will you. You won't. No, it's not the fact that you can't live this set apart life. It's just that you won't live this set apart life. Let's get it right. And that's why it's difficult for those of us who have sacrificed to receive anything from those. When we look at their lifestyle, when we look at who they are and what they're putting down, it's difficult for those of us who actually are doing this to accept anything from these people whatsoever. Because, you know, when you do something, you have a revelation. When you do something, you have a knowing that other people without the experience will never comprehend and understand. So it's hard for us to accept people who claim to know what this Bible says and yet they don't live it. Do you understand? Am I being irrational? I don't think so. So he says in verse 11 of Matthew 10, let me go. Yeah, Matthew 10, verse 10. nor scrip for your journey, neither two coats, neither shoes, nor yet staves, for the workman is worthy of his meat. That means if you go somewhere, you're worthy of your meat, but you're going to have to work. And I've had people come here that totally defy what we do and don't think they have to work. You know what that comes from? That comes from being in captivity, come from being in a slave mindset and having an American attitude and not a transformed mind in a transformed way. and so people, we would tell them, breakfast is at 8. They'll come sashaying in at 9, and then they'll wonder why all the food is put up and nobody is accommodating them and serve them. Because we told them breakfast is at 8. In other words, we are a disciplined people. Have you ever been out late at night and you wanted something to eat and you go knock on the door of a restaurant and it says that they were closed at 10 o'clock? You show up at 10:05 and you still knock on the door. I've seen people do this. And you want them to serve you and they don't open the door and they don't serve you. What do? You usually just go away. But however, when it comes to Israel, when it comes to the saints, you act like your opinion matters. You get all upset. You get into your emotions. You get frustrated. But you should have obeyed the order. Well, that leads them down, of that day of having a false spirit, getting offended. Now, thank you. Mind you, I'm sitting up there thinking, wait a minute. You're traveling. We've invited you to our land and allowed you to stay into one of our homes. I told you that breakfast at 8 o'clock. You show up at 9. Now you're going to be offended because there's no food put out. And then you're going to be offended for the rest of the workday, bringing a heavy spirit on our beautiful, holy, peaceful, sanctified ground. And then you come in at dinner time and you still have that same spirit. And then you start complaining about the food that we're eating. I don't mind telling you that when people have taken that posture and not being able to accept generosity, I told them, I said, I tell you what, you have that plate of food. As soon as you get finished with that food, you get out of this gate right now. You leave our land right now. You know what happens to many of them? They go run to social media. That's the worst place in the world that I've ever been. And many of you who've been gamed, many of you who've been stupefied by the dumbasses out there. You start, yeah, they shouldn't do that yet. You take one opinion and you think that they are speaking with some type of authority. You think that they're speaking with some type of realness, and you don't even know these people at all. They play on your heart emotions. Amazing, isn't it? So anyway, he says, and into whatsoever city or town you enter in, inquire in it is worthy, and there abide till you go thence. In other words, you stay there until you leave. So when people come here, when people come to our town, the first thing we do is offer them our guest room. And if there's too many, we have guest rooms in different dwelling places here. And we're developing more and more and more as the years go by. And we've done that. Open up the doors of our home without scrutiny, without judging people. It's utterly amazing. Why should you take that money that you're traveling with and spend it into a hotel room out there when you can stay right here on the land with the saints? You can have breakfast right here with us, dinner with us. And that's what we've done. Now let me ask you a question. You claim to be Israel. Most of you preachers, teachers, leaders, brothers and sisters. Do you have a place that an Israelite brother and sister can actually come? Do you have a place set aside, set apart? I've done my historical research as well and come to find out that that is the way that our people actually functioned in our culture throughout history. So we've done that. We've adopted that. But many of you claim to be saved. You claim to be filled with the Holy Spirit. You claim to have the gospel. You claim to know the message. You make a lot of claims. But do you live the claims that you make? Are saints invited to come? Or do you have this some type of way, you can't trust people today? And that's true. You can't trust people. But that's the reason why you're supposed to have discernment. Are you afraid to allow people to come to your land because you've got your personal doctrine about people? I'm not. Not at all. What about you? You see, While everybody wants to judge Pastor Down, they want to judge Straitway. Before you begin to open up your mouth, see if you fit the bill. Because if you make any type of judgment towards us, I'm going to check out as much as I can, because most of you insulate yourself very well. You put false avatars up, fake names, that nobody can investigate and check out what you really truly live. But that's good. But that's why I have discerning of spirits. I can actually check to see what people are doing by discerning the spirits. I don't have to know you by the flesh. I can know you by the spirit to know who you are. And most of the time, many people give themselves up by what comes out of their mouth. And the instruction is, when you come into a house, salute it. And if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon you. But if it be not worthy, let your peace return to you. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when you depart out of that house or city, shake the dust off your feet. Now, mind you, let's go back over there. This is the people that Jesus had trained himself. He had given them the word, and he had told them if they don't receive it. Usually when people come here, they ain't got no word. We don't have anybody saying, thus saith the Lord today, nobody. So he's speaking to the apostles, telling them what to do. If people don't receive you, shake the dust. But we receive wayward people, and whether they have a word or not. And it's just a sad reality of the way our minds have been gamed today. You know, Jesus said, as well as with the apostles, Yahshua said, by their fruits you shall know them. And most times we don't know people by their fruits. We know people by what they say. And when you make that mistake, you're hearing things from a heart that is deceitful above all things, that is desperately wicked. So if you get gamed and you associate yourself with someone because they give you some sob story and then you believe it, you only got a little while before you get burnt. But you know what happens too many times, more often than not, those people never come back and repent. They just go on in their lives and continue on doing what they're doing. And he says this, for verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But then he says this, but beware of men. Y'all hear that straightway all throughout the world. Beware of men. What are they going to do? For they will deliver you up to their councils. They will scourge you in their synagogues or their churches. And you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what you shall speak, for it shall be given you in the same hour what you shall speak. For it is not you that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. Then he says this, look at this, and I've experienced this. And the brother shall deliver the brother to death, and the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father, the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. Hey, community, number one. I thought this was a very good lesson. Let's see what we learned from this. We'll come back to number two later on. Y'all have a wonderful day.